Yes, it's gorgeous. Really nice.
Oh, look, a little alleyway.
Yes. Well, not quite, because there's a dead end. It's funny when you're sitting in your living room and you see people going, "Oh, this is nice." Suddenly there's dead end, and sheepishly walking back again as they're exploring. But I live down here. It's my little. I don't own all of it. No, as I say, it's my little path. It's St Leonards Road, and this is Spring Cottages. And St Leonards Road, I believe, with the saint of pregnant women, which I'll come back to maybe in a little bit. I believe it's actually something around that. We moved in. I just realised a few weeks ago we moved into these cottages exactly 10 years ago, in January, just gone, so a few weeks ago, exactly 10 years. And we were renting at first, number 10. We had a whole day. We had to move out. We were living in Kingston. We had to move out at last. So we booked up a whole weekend, Saturday and Sunday, of flat hunting and house hunting. Saturday morning, we saw the first one down here. Saw a second one. Had a coffee, and then said to each other, "You know what? If we just take that first one, we could have the rest of the weekend off." And that's exactly what we did. So we end up living in Surbiton.
One way to buy a house.
It is, yeah. Well, renting. It was just renting at that point. No, we were in Kingston, but yeah, this is right in Surbiton. Yeah. So then, a few years later, we were ready to buy, and we were looking around again. It's hard work, going, travelling, looking to buy. And our neighbours were selling, and we kind of had that same conversation again. You know what? If we just buy our neighbour's house, we wouldn't have to do all that moving and shifting. And we did. We bought our neighbour's house, so we moved into number 8. I've done a lot of research, a hard research in the archives about finding out the history of these cottages, and after much detailed inspection of the shape of the roofs and the chimneys, and look at a real inspection of the windows and going into people's houses, I finally came to the conclusion this row of cottages was built in 1865. That's purely the deduction of my specialty as an architectural historian and knowing what to look for. But I don't think that date's right. And the guy who lived there said, no, you think that date is actually the extension. So I'm not too sure. That was a shop. It was a shop on the corner. It was like a general shop, newspaper, tobacconist kind of place. I looked in the censuses at what people did down here, and you look around you, you've got these big Italian houses, these villas. They were all seamstresses, school teachers, working in service, working in the railways, working on the river, that sort of thing. But the one thing that really amazed me was looking at the censuses was how many people lived in these houses, because they're tiny. They're tiny, tiny, tiny. And you would have 6, 8 people living in one house. And even in our house, there was, it was 2 up, 2 down, but they were packed in. They were absolutely packed in. Going back to that St Leonards thing. Another odd thing is that every person, since living here 10 years, every person that's had a child down here, they've all been boys. And they've all been blonde boys. Ooh. And even my son, if you look at Jenny and myself, we're not blonde. We're not blonde, neither of us.
Oh, let's
have
a look.
That's not blonde.
I'm an actual blonde.
When Ben and Juva were in the archives, they found a rent book for your
We
house.
found loads
Really?
of rent books.
Hey.
We found that many rent books, and we didn't know you lived at number 8 when we found.
I've got a little list that Ben supplied me because he couldn't come. In your house in 1871 was a George Budden, who was 30 years old and a widower, listed as a gardener. There was also Harry Howes and William Martin, that were both lodgers, unmarried. One was 17 and one was 29.
In one house we were talking about?
In your house.
That's what I was
in your
they were
house.
packed in.
Yeah. In the 1881, George Budden had moved out, and Eliza Haynes was there. She was from Essex originally. Also a widow. Don't know what it is about your house being filled with widowers and widows. She was a dressmaker. Her daughter was a needlewoman, and she had 3 other children, all within school. And Ben got worried about George Budden because he wasn't there anymore, so found out that he'd moved to James Street at number 15.
What, locally?
Yeah.
Where's that?
It's the one that runs from Maple Road up to Surbiton.
Oh, yeah.
Roundabout.
Yeah. And he'd gone from being listed as a gardener to a gentleman's gardener, and had remarried to a woman of 36. So about 4 years younger than him, and had 4 children.
All blonde.
Oh.
In St John's, in St James.
Someone's trying to come through.
Oh yeah, sorry,
The
yeah.
one in James Street.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they found that, they thought it was
I would, absolutely. Yeah. So I just,
Here's a picture of all the rent books.
Oh,
We didn't know you lived at number 8 when
Really?
we were doing this.
I thought you did.
Just no, I did, but it was in the back of my head.
Oh, okay.
And something
You
went.
then
I
clocked it.
think that's Howard's house. And then we took a picture of all the
Who
rent
owned
books.
it though? There's the rent books. Who owned it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a pretty detailed history of just your house.
Joe,
And we were looking on this road, we couldn't find anything else very much detail at all. But
That's amazing, isn't it? I'd love to have that copy of that. That'd be fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Actually, one Saturday morning when I woke up, I was at the front bedroom. I was hazily looked, and I did see this figure, a Victorian woman, solemnly looking at the window.
Eliza, that would have been, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Eliza.
There's
Eliza.
Eliza, yeah. So one thing that you talked about here is these are the roads that are obviously south of Woods' development, and people were asking why are they.
Sorry, these aren't posh.
These aren't posh, I'm afraid.
Don't tell you why.
Don't come.
Just getting the reaction shot from Howard there.
I don't know why there's no houses facing this way, but I know that these roads were built iteratively. They were built bit by bit because previous to this, it wasn't one big park like Surbiton Park was, which was sold off to William Woods in one big block. It was owned by different people. It's farmland. People were farming it, and it was not just like one big farm like we have today. It was small meadows. So there would have been 4 or 5 meadows or pastures up and down each street, and very likely, because gardening was so popular, these were built facing this way, and the gardens would have extended out here, and then this would have been cottages for workers, and just not enough money really to build houses facing each other. This doesn't matter if they look onto the backs of other people's houses, because your minions, the minions here. So what this side of the river roads really look at is the sort of the less glamorous side of the Victorian era.
So, sorry.
These are still quite
could this
grand,
be the
aren't they?
literally, could this be the? Where was the boundary for that, like Woods and?
Well, the boundary was originally Uxbridge Road. That's kind of his original. But then Woods bought up Grove Road, Catherine and Cadogan. Cadogan, is that how you pronounce it?
Cadogan.
I say tomato.
Anne's just done some research, you better tell him.
St Leonard is blonde.
Hey.
No.
It's on Wikipedia.
It must be true.
It's a recent entry.
It's like seafood.
Hey. So documentary evidence is actually okay.
And can you see the resemblance to any of the children?
There were some celebrities on St Leonard's Road who we might meet the ghost of if we walk a little bit up here.
Speak a bit louder.
Will they be?
This is actually the home of Surbiton Jetpack Society. The Jetpack Society. Victorian engineering was pretty popular in Surbiton, and so they started to build jetpacks along with the filter bed and the Cleopatra's Needle and the innovation that came along. But unfortunately it didn't really work out because above them was the Surbiton Bungee Jump Society. And they tried to come to a compromise about their difficulties, but they couldn't meet in the middle.
Oh.
So here we have the doors of the Jetpack Society on the 2nd floor, and the Bungee Jump Society on the 3rd floor. Some of that's a lot.
It's alright, we can edit that out as well if you